peace, power, and love. Once again, with Blackanized international Nubian consciousness, conscious chess move before the sun rises. Going through the realization process of who we are as a people, the magical, divine energy that we've been blessed with, that we've been left with, that we have to understand the essence of the signposts that have been left by our ancestors to develop and grow into this special being, this divine being, this spiritual being, this very intelligent and harmonious being that we need to be to come together in unity in every aspect of our being as a people. I was thinking about something the other day. It's like almost 8 billion people on the planet Earth, about 7 billion being realistic, I guess. They say about 7 billion, but it's heading towards 8 billion. And they say and I was thinking, how many of us are in that number? People are melanin, with active melanin or hue that we can see, not the lack of it, not the pink skin of people or the Niagara, the RA bloodline factor, RH, I believe, RH, genome prototype of a monkey or a dog or something like that. They're scientifically proven, not just something I'm saying. Well, I'm not attacking anybody. I'm just being realistic in what it is, scientific proof that they say, based on what they say, even though they be arch deceivers and his lies that tell his story. But according to them, that's where it comes from. But I was thinking about how many of us are of that percent. And I came across something yesterday. I don't know if it was on the radio or a post or something like that. And it stated that we're about 86 or something percent of that 7 billion people on the planet Earth. That's more than half people of color or human or with hue. People of color, hue. That's like good googie. Shoo, that's a large amount of us. So we are the majority on this planet Earth, on the face of Earth. And they are not. They are the minority. And in that minority, not all of them are those people that's in power can control the multi-billion or multi-trillion vampire millionaires, multi-millionaires, and werewolves with that mentality, with their cannibalistic nature. You see how they eat their food, so rare that sometimes you don't have to cook it. Then you got to think about all the blood that was missing, or like at the Red Cross, all the blood that's been there that they get, people donate. Got to think about that. We also got to think about our missing children and missing sisters and brothers. About 800,000 around the world. And we got to think about body parts, melanin, sex rings, not only around the world, but in our locale. We have a problem of children becoming up missing, not only children, but adults also. We have to look at like that shooting spree and people winding up dead or something like that. And when they get their bodies, marks be on their bodies and their body parts, internal body parts be gone. That's a reality that's been proven, that's been talked about, but nobody listening. That's our problem. We just listen to the propaganda. What they call it fake news now. Anything to benefit their alternative facts. These new terms are like cover of their lives and the promotion of what they want us to hear or what's in their favor, so they can send us in a certain direction of on the path or whatever. I know a lot of us this morning are getting ready to go to church and become sanctified in the Word. I ain't gonna say nothing negative about that. It's all good. It's a spiritual advertisement. Advertiser said that away. It'll uplift you in your spirits to connect you to that energy, that internal energy that is of a divine nature. And with the information that, that those, the reverends or the preachers or whatever we want to call them, the fathers or whatever, or the shepherds, it all be determined about their message and where they want to take the emotionalism of the people. Because it's about the emotionalism that be stimulated in those churches. I'm telling you, I be in them. I love the Gospels. Bring tears to my heart. Sometimes the sermons be such a powerful message that I gotta agree with it. Just like if you I go to the masjid, the same thing. One is based on emotionalism. One is based on rationalism, but they have the same effect because they touching the same aspect of your being. And when you go there, just be energized, rejuvenated, in a spiritual way, in that power, in that essence. And don't let it separate you from the rest of humanity, the rest of us, who might practice different. That's like for those of us to go to the sanctuary this morning, or go to the masjid on Fridays, or to the synagogue on Saturdays. Those of us that are of hue, don't let those doctrines separate us. Keep us strong and connected as brothers and sisters, because we just see it different, but it's only one source. It's only one universal, supreme, divine being, intelligent, that has brought us into this realm through the yoni of the sister and the help of the father through the phallus. And that is the natural process, the divine way that we come into this realm or paradigm we call life and living, with all the struggles and trials and tribulations with it. Sometimes we're up and sometimes we're down. Sometimes we feel pain and sometimes we feel joy. But that's what it's all about. We try to be in a happy state of mind all the time, but sometimes it don't be like that. But it's all right, as long as we here, we still struggle with ourselves and try to overcome whatever trial or tribulation is placed before us. We be strong in that endeavor as spiritual beings, as warriors, kings and queens, God and goddesses. I'm totally on, or totally into, African spirituality and trying to attain the knowledge pertaining to everything that pertains to me or us culturally and spiritually. In my travels on path or in journey in this life, I've taken my Kalima Shahada in 1981. And recently I got saved and baptized and read the verses that become Hebrew, what I was told. But the greatest thing happened to me, I guess, that I can say, which I felt other than emotion, I feel energy. I feel energy in my being into my temple, my body, from my top of my head coming down or coming up out of it, or what they call the crown chakra. And I was energized with, or enhanced, my perception of things was enhanced. And I was looking for other people to talk to, relate to. And I found them, but it was like we had to, be quiet, just sit back and almost like enjoy the ride. But too much stuff is going on for me. The world is going on every day, and we're in a crisis state of being. And I wanted to do something about it, but it's not time. I guess it's only time to keep ascertaining a knowledge to fortify my universe with the understanding of esoteric and arcane knowledge pertaining to the ancient scripts of our people, going back into all the rituals of our people before we came in contact with anybody else or everybody else, and who brought us their text. We already had a text. The text of the papyrus scrolls, the text of what was written on the walls of ancient Kemet, that where it said truth is etched in stone. I want to go back there. I want to learn all that knowledge through the melaninated, reading of the melaninated. I want to learn knowledge of voodoo, a practice that most people say there was in Haiti. I want to learn all the knowledge of anything that we dealt with as a people, spiritually, of healing and everything. Because they put on a connotation of some of the practice of what our people practice as evil and stuff like that. They reversed it on us, and we like step back from it and don't want to touch it or gain an understanding of it. But they use it to their advantage, and they messed it up, and they put the evil connotation to it. I want to acquire the knowledge and do righteous things with it, and be of a righteous nature. It'll be my weapon of defense against all the apparatus of this society. I'll be strong, and I won't have to be dealing with the prison industrial complex, because I changed my mentality and came out of a criminal mentality long ago, dealing with the medical industrial complex, so I don't have to get caught up on the medicines and the ailments of what occurs in this environment. They want us on medicine to be, it's not preventive. They don't deal with preventive medicine. They deal with curative medicine. So you keep coming back. You got to keep paying for your non-preventive medicine to keep that money coming in. That's part of the medical industrial complex. You got to be aware of that. Then we got to deal with the agricultural industrial complex, where they control the food. We got to start planting our own food, I'm telling you, because they're planting food that's genetically modified. They're taking the seeds out of food, so we can't replant the food. That's why we got to get plants and everything. We got to start growing some food in our backyards and on land, getting land to grow food, and food that we can grow in our house and whatever. Because these people are trying to control everything. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. Look it up for yourself. When you go to the store, they got codes on the food now. And if you look up the codes, there's one that say genetically modified. You got organic grown food or whatever. And the food or the fruit and vegetables you can detect first. Because remember, we had seeds in our fruit, in our oranges or apples or whatever. We had seeds in them. A lot of them fruits in the Safeway or the Giant or where we get our stuff from don't have seeds in it no more. That's the GMO, the genetic modified food that they're controlling. Then again, we got the prison. I mean, not the prison. We got the religious institutions that have the same qualities of a quantitative proportion, has the same job, and where I can get you to see what I'm talking about for those of us who've seen The Birth of a Nation, not the first one, not the one by the Ku Klux Klan that they showed in the White House that tried to promote white supremacy and institutionalized racism way back then. I think it was President Roosevelt or something that they showed that movie, The Birth of the Nation, that was based on the Ku Klux Klan, the terrorist group that they was trying to make into a heroic group. That's what they was promoting. But I'm talking about the one about Nat Turner and how they used Nat Turner as a shepherd or as a preacher to pacify the slaves at those times, or the people that was in captivity at that time, to pacify them, to make them acceptable and susceptible to the acts of slavery, to say that, compare the European to the Creator, that by obeying the Creator, you got to obey the Master, whatever the Master do or say. So the same thing sometimes, a lot of times applied in these day and times with these shepherds or preachers, reverends, whatever we call them. Not all the time do all of those be like that. Because we got some Jeremiah Wrights that spoke the truth. I heard it with my own ears. We got some other ones that speak the truth. We got a lot of them that be very, very deceptive. Like the one talking about God told him to ask his congregation for $60 million for a lead jet. That's kind of hard to swallow. Not swallow, to listen to, and maybe also swallow the truth of that. We got to be realistic and rational. I don't think that anybody has any. We can be more perceptive than each other or something like that. But having conversations and all that, I think that's kind of, overkill or past the borderline. Because I don't believe anyone is better than anybody else. We all human beings. We might study a little more, and our perception is enhanced and all that, but the physical senses are still intact or whatever. And the whole conversation with this supreme energy and all that is maybe sometimes far-fetched. And we can hear that silent voice sometime, but I don't know. It just besides me how the Creator would pick one individual out and say he needs $60 million for a lead jet. What's the lead jet for? Personal getting around, transportation or whatever. Anything you get in that arena, it should be for the whole community. That's what it's about. Your temple, when you go in that temple, it's supposed to be about the development of the community. It's supposed to be about, like, a stopover for the Underground Railroad, a house of sanction or a sanctuary for those in distress. It's like we shouldn't have to wait every Thanksgiving to, feed the masses. We should be more like the Black Panthers, the old Black Panthers, the original Black Panthers. They had a food program every day. They fed the children every day. They tried to do it nationwide. That's what we should be aiming for, not waiting for these holidays or whatever. I say unholy days, unholy holidays. That's what I come to believe, because there's always a flip side to it, and we get caught up in it. It's all about money. They say we spend $1.3 trillion during Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and Christmas. Then we miss all the other holidays that we spend money. But it's a way to make money and a way to spend money. And we be caught up in the manipulation of the spending money. Because there's a lot of money we spend. What's the day? The thing is the 10, 11, 12. Oh, getting ready to come up. A Lupernalia holiday. Lupernalia is a Roman, Roman practice, pagan practice that they practice, and they merge that with the thing called St. Valentine's Day. It's a thing that we've been programmed to celebrate. We've been programmed to celebrate each and every holiday that occurs in this Roman calendar or solar calendar throughout the year. And each and every one of them have a flip side to it. And Lupernalia is like a Roman practice where they used to come together this particular time of day, or holiday, so-called holiday they call it, or practice of love and all that. It's a perception of love, but it's really about sexuality. They used to come together and maybe kill a dog or a wolf or whatever, cut their hair off and have some, supposed to be some virgin type women or something like that, and to go through a little ceremony with that. Then they be drunk, get drunk, and everybody be chasing the women, and it'd be like a old big orgy. And that was pertaining to wolves or whatever, the Wolf Clan or something like that. And that was the practice of it. And it started with the killing of two men called Valentine. That was got quiet Saint Valentine status or whatever. Also based on that, but really that's what it's based on, the practice of sexuality, orgies and all that. And so we caught up in that on the other side of it. But I ain't going to say to each his own. Because when you say to each his own, well, it's like you can do what you please and what you want. But you're going to do anything anyway, because we do what we want. But it don't make it right. So whatever we do, let's be on the correct side of what we're doing and know why we're doing and what it's all about, the story of it, the facts behind the scene, the other side of the coin. But express love every day. Everything that you do it every day. This particular day is like Mother and Father's Day. Come on now. Mother and Father's Day is every day. Because the mother and the father, who are being mothers and fathers, every day they try to make it comfortable for our children or for our family in the way that they can within their means. And that's being responsible. And I always say what I say because I love my people. And I believe that what I speak is the truth. It's the truth that's left to me for me to adhere to from people like A.J. Rogers, Carter G. Woodson, Ivan Van Sertima, Chiap, all these people that gave us information or left us information to counter the false information of the anthropologists and the psychologists and all that they promote white supremacy and institutionalized racism and cover it up with honey or chocolate. That's being symbolic of the sweetness of it, but it's a deceptive analogy of our culture. See, we got to watch out for the culture and spiritual agent provocateurs. They are here or there to corrupt, to misguide, to mislead. It's like a mental and spiritual suicide or genocide. Because if we don't get the true story, we're going to be on this false story. And it's going to be his story, not our story, his lies. And that's the reality of it. Even though we, be in a comfort zone of materialism or whatever and fronting and all that. But the reality is there's a war going on. And our souls is the prize that they playing for. As long as we misguided and keep perpetrating this system, it's going to be everything as usual. Everything is a positive for them, for this system. We continue to perpetrate it every day, so we don't come to our senses to try to develop through unity and organization a counter to it, alter infrastructure based on our culture, our spirituality, and everything. And that's the reality that we must come to. If we don't, we're just going to keep playing the game to our detriment as a people. We keep being confused, abused, killed, miseducated, dumbing down our children, pipeline the schools, pipeline the prison, all that. Being manipulated by the music we listen to, the movies we look at, and all that. Because we ain't pooling our resources. The athletes, the movie stars, and the entertainers, and the intellectuals, we got to pool our resources. We got to stop being divided and conquered and like we got the answer. Like Islam got the answer. Christianity got the answer. We got the answer holistically together if we practice what we need to practice and live the way we need to live. We can't live in this predatory state of being or animalistic state of being. We got to live in a holistic state of being, like a spiritual energy, to be spiritually inclined. To be, when you become spiritually inclined, you entail everything about the universe that's related to the universe. It's sciences that we go by to better ourselves. We got to correct our eating, correct the information that we digest, and all that, because it have a great effect upon our being and who we are as a people. And I'm going to promote it every day because the energy, because of what I believe as an energetic being, as a black man, a race man, based on melanin, and based on us coming back into the harmony and peace that we once had. It may seem like a long time ago that we had it, but it can be just like yesterday in our present, so that we can perhaps project it for our future. It would be better if we unify, organize, and develop an infrastructure and just go down this path of, like we so merrily involved with it when we know it ain't about us. If we don't know it's not about us, then we got to wake up. We're in for a rude awakening. And it seems now that we can see that it's not for us, about us, if we just understand. Even when they talk about themselves, I'm talking about some of the senators or congressmen be talking about this dilemma we're in with the personality and characters that's in a position of leadership, that's at the control of the country. It's all part of a plan, a bigger plan that they trying to develop, trying to get in effect. Because I reiterate about listening to the speeches of former presidents or previous presidents, and how many times have we heard the term New World Order? from those presidents. Mainly the last 6 or 7 of them, or 8 of them, they use that term. And what is the New World Order? What is it? Think about it. If you don't know, read the book, Learn Elders, Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. And you can see the breakdown of it very clearly. Understand that we're dealing with Cabal nations. Look up the word Cabal, C-A-B-A-L. Look up that the concept that United States of hypocrisy, this federation or republic, however you want to look at it, is a corporation of England. And the Cabal states deal with militarization or military endeavor, financial endeavor, and religious endeavor. The Vatican, London, and Washington, D.C. And it's a worldwide corporation that's dealing with that development of the New World Order, but it's at the top. I'm talking about the top echelons of policy making. I'm talking about at the Foreign Affairs Council, the Bundaberg Council. I'm talking about things behind the scenes. See, the government is just like the Wizard of Oz. We all seen that movie. And the people behind the curtain is the manipulators. The president is just a figurehead. And it seems like Trump is not part of it, but he a part of it also. Because during the campaign and right when he was winning, or right in that era of time or space and time, him and Hillary, they were at the Vatican, seated in company with the black Jessup. Look that up also. You know, the Pope got the white Jessup and the black Jessup. Look at the brother that's in that black outfit. Look at, and then you can find out his relationship with all these corporations. They're supposed to be entities of the federal government or the American government, and everything ain't as it seems. The Federal Reserve, the one who make money, or you know, to the world, to countries and all that. The Bureau of Gravity makes money in D.C., but it's stemming from the Federal Reserve and IRS, and the tax people. These private corporations ain't got nothing to do with the government. So how can people in a private level take our money as tax from our earnings and so-called do what they do with it and distribute it back into what road works or pay us or whatever? That's really, I can't see it. The trickery of it, the hypocrisy of it. Private corporations dealing with governmental affairs is a big business, I tell you, a big business of hypocrisy on all levels, but it's interconnected. It's multi-corporations that got this thing, they got this plan, trying to implement this plan, dealing with the 13 families in England and Vatican and London. As I said before, we got to be aware of that and not just follow everything down happy-go-luckily down the Murray road, because it's a road of self-destruction. If it's not physical destruction or finality of our lives, it's a destruction of our thinking, of our culture, of our spirituality, where we be misled and manipulated to follow to a path of self-destruction in one of those areas. And the ultimate goal is for us to be like really under robot control, and the formality of everybody be programmed to be the same way. We got to look at some of the movies and extract from the movies the truth or whatever that they trying to propagate. or promote. And look at The Simpsons. Now, that's really strange. So, a lot of things or incidents that happen in reality, they're showed on The Simpsons sometime before, 6 months to a year before an incident occur, and then they occur. As depicted on The Simpsons, on the cartoon. I don't know what type of code it is or whatever, or what type of code they use in every aspect of our being. Just like the gentrification that's going on. It seemed like a button was pushed or something, and then everybody in D.C. It started changing. Like, look up on 14th Street. Look up on 14th and Irvin and U Street, and look at how that changed. Just like that. Just like that. It took some time, a couple of years, but this infusion. And then the same thing they're doing out in Southeast and Northeast. You can see it better in Northeast too. And now this is the last frontier in D.C., 7 and 8 wards, that you can see this merging of the different ethnic groups and all that, where it seems like they become the majority. You can see it when you have the dog parks and the bike riding stuff like that, because see, they be organized and they be unified in their thing. The homosexuals and the Europeans, and they deal with the councilmen. They force their hands because they be down there, and we gotta do the same thing. We gotta be down there and force those people that represent us. We gotta force their hand if they ain't doing what they're supposed to do concerning our livelihood, or our livelihood, and laws that help us or affect us or whatever. Everything's supposed to be in our favor, in the governments of us as a people, because that's what it's supposed to be about. They represent us. They that's in office represent us, and we can't forget that. And we always got to be right there to keep, the fire burning under their feet so they don't go to sleep. We got I'll say we got a great councilman or great council people down there, but I can only adhere to one because I've been around them. But we got to still be there and support them, or make them realize that the job is not done until you do the job. You always got to be on top of the job, and it ain't no easy job. It ain't no easy fix. We got to more so fix it more so than them. We got to come together in our community and be working on ourselves, self-healing and all that, while they working on in the other fields like legislation, or getting money jobs or whatever, build a rec center, whatever. But we got to be in control of ourselves and our emotions and our rationalization of what's going on in our community. We got to all be leaders. It ain't just one leader. It's all of us are leaders. And we got to come together in unity, divine unity, spiritual unity, economical unity, educational unity. We got to be the village to raise that child. Not only our child, we got to be co-parents. We got to be extended family members. We got to take back our communities. We got to deal with our youth and young adults in our communities. They're very strong and intelligent, but they're misguided through self-deception and a desire or aspiration that's been distorted. Some of them is under robot control because they just deal with their animalistic and predatory nature that's being developed and manipulated by social engineering, by the food, the air, and everything that the people are manipulating. The people that can do it through mass mind control, chemicals from the chemtrail, and the fluoride in the water and the toothpaste and all that. We got to know what's going on in our environment so that we can fight against it. And we got to be really profound in doing that. We got to have an objective just like they got an objective. We got to counter their objective because their objective is for debilitation of us. And all levels of us or in control. As long as they're in control, then they're cool. But we can't let them control our livelihood or the things that give us comfort and stuff. We can't let them control the education system no more with their curriculum. We might have to just totally go to homeschooling or African-centric schooling or natural schooling, spiritual schooling. But we cannot let them just keep injecting us with that social narcotics of white supremacy and institutionalized racism with their curriculum. We got to establish a curriculum that's going to fortify us spiritually and culturally as a people, to develop entrepreneurship, understand how to deal with money and invest our money and come together and be collective in our endeavors as a people with one purpose, one aim, one objective. And it's so endearing to me to be one of the people that's wanting to live for us in that area. And I think that's why, I don't know, I really can't say, I'm not a celebrity, I don't have a lot of money, but I had the spirit, the heart, and the nature to give my all for the growth and development of us as a people. And what I give is my heart and my spirit and my information and my knowledge by divine decree from pathway of my ancestors and the information that they left me and the energy of the Creator that's in me that I understand. I understand that my body is a temple, and all, not just my body, all our bodies are temple in the energy of the Creators in each and every one of us. And we just got to tap into that thing, tap into that energy, and be realistic, and be serious, not being manipulative and having ulterior motives with the knowledge that we gain that's going to open up to our consciousness. And by us being conscious and our subconscious and the conscious merge and give us that enhancement, it should be for on the pathway of growth and development in a spiritual, economical way, every way to uplift us as a people and not be a deterrent in our growth and development, but be a constructive aspect in our growth and development. As we got to heal first as a people. We as black people, if you want to say that, or Africans in America, or Americans with descendants of Africa, however you want to put it. But we as a people, we got to heal, come together, and we got to pool our resources. I'm pleading, I'm willing for all us to come together. Those with the money and those without the money, come together with our talents, man. But we need those athletes, entertainers, and whatever. They got these multi-million-dollar empires or whatever. We got resources. We need to pool our resources, and on every level of our development. We need to get back to that Wall Street where we come together as a people and deal with our sociality as a people and be able to defend it this time. Not saying, because of the reality is they don't want us no longer because they don't need us no longer, but they don't want us to leave them either because our service is rendered to them. They enjoy for us to be in a servant position, but also they trying to get rid of us and having other ethnic groups to come in and do the work that we may not do, that we be wanting to do, but they hire more of a ethnic group, and that's the political ploy and the war that they got going on. They don't adhere to anybody else's culture but their own culture, and we know that they will attack us and keep us from each other. Then they'll keep us in the churches and stuff. They divide and conquer game that they play amongst us. Then they play them against each and every nationality or ethnic group. That's why I say we have to get us together first. And there ain't nothing wrong with separation, long as we acting like a nation within that. See, we got integration, and that's where we was tripped up. Even Malcolm and Martin knew that. Malcolm was about promoting integration. Malcolm was promoting separation. Then he got into another perspective of spirituality, dealing with universality, but not knowing that racism exists in everything, and deception also, and that it keeps you apart while you're in your house. Or so what? Under your divine fig tree, it exists there because it crept in there, So the reality of it is, we got to come together. All our athletes, entertainers, and all that. If we got a objective with the Eric Dysons and all these people that are fluent, that's I ain't gonna say they the boule or whatever or gatekeepers, but they're on a higher level than most of us, and they are accepted as so-called leaders or intellectual leaders or whatever. But we got to come together, and it got to be from the grassroots up, or if you're up there, down. But we got to come together, and we got to meet on at the middle ground and build that foundation of having our own once again, because the integration, has it worked? Has it worked to be able to rub shoulders or sit in the same stores or whatever, or all that decrepit mentality that they had? They still got it. The same people that lynched our people, that same culture or mentality exists, because it wasn't that long ago. Almost less than 100 years ago, or 150 years ago, when all that was going on, really at a high rate of it. That mentality still exists, because that's just a grandmother or grandparent away, grandchildren or great-grandchildren. The same mentality exists. We should look at those pictures, and they should be cold cases, and open them cases and charge them people for murder. Them people that lynch our people, or even lynch their own people, should be charged with murder, because they say a cold case if you do the evidence, and they got the evidence because the picture's right there. So if it's a cold case, charge them people with accessory to murder that was there. The law is the law, unless it's a fraudulent law like it is, but make it work. I just want to, I plead, I pray to the divine being that's in me, and the extraterrestrial, universal being, not extraterrestrial like saying that, but I'm just saying outside of me, outside of my temple, outside of my universe, in the universal scheme of things. I pray to this divine, universal energy that we call God, Allah, Jah, Jehovah, whatever we call it. I pray to it. I submit to it. I serve it as a servant of the Creator to serve my people. But I pray that He bring us together in this divine energy in this day and time to be stronger in our every aspect of our life, to be stronger and connect us spiritually in love and understanding and peace and harmony, to come together in better relationships with each other in a brotherly way, a naturally brotherly, strong way in the form of fashion of manhood, being an example of a man and raising our children, especially our sons, to be young, intelligent brothers and that have responsibility. We raise them up with the understanding and give them that strength of what to do or how to be a man, how to deal with relationships. Even though some of us sometimes we don't get a passing grade in that area. Well, we got to endeavor and work on that. Got to work on that holistically. And our sisters, our women, must be mothers. The same way. It's this not being a girl. You have to be a woman or a lady. You have to rise up and be that responsible, the first teacher of our children. The woman is really the backbone of the family. The man is the strength of the family, the guide, but they work together. In my eye, the balance, a divine balance. And that's what we got to do. But the woman got to teach the woman or the young girl, and the man got to teach the young boy to become. Both got to interject that information and knowledge so that they become mature adults. You got to teach them spiritually, educationally, and economically, and physically. We got to teach them so that they can go to the initiation of coming into adulthood. We got to do that. We got to get back to every aspect of our culture so that we can develop this strength that's already there. Just give it direction spiritually, holistically. Because we got a natural enemy. And most times, if we don't deal with ourselves, we be our own enemy. We got to realize that. We got to deal with ourselves first and purify ourselves, because we have a lot of baggage that we bring to living in life. Is what we've been indoctrinated with our experiences and all that before we come to our rational senses and inspiration of divine nature, ancestral nature, and community nature, that we are going to be the best that we can be through love, peace, and harmony. That we're going to reach out and we're going to touch each other in that way, a divine way, in love and spiritual connection, culture, knowing that we are the greatest people on this planet Earth, knowing that we went through everything that we can go through as a people to break us and to make us into a certain way. But we still here, and we haven't been broken. Like George Jackson said, you can never count us among the broken men. Or he spoke about himself. He said, you can never count me among the broken men. But in saying that was generalized. So he gave us that energy and that insight not to be broken, because that's their purpose. George Jackson was a brother that was in college, so-called incarceration, but he was just like Malcolm. Malcolm was the same way. They tried to break him, but it made him, his third eye open. He just ain't used the five senses. He came into the spiritual context of himself. George Jackson became into the revolutionary context of himself, spiritual awakening, where he was a unifier, organizer, and the developer of an infrastructure within in his world where he was at. But it would have extended outside of that if he would have got out. Same thing with Malcolm, King. Their third eye opened and they came into that inspiration of who they were. Malcolm was always on that road and path, on the spiritual path. He just had to get the context of it correct, because his ideology comes from the dude named Gandhi of India, who was a racist. He didn't like people of our hue at all. Read him, study him, but his concept was cool with Malcolm, and it worked doing or getting us civil rights, but that wasn't the full rights. we have to be determined about human rights, not civil rights. We shorten ourselves because civil is just dealing with an aspect of it on just the local paradigm. That's on local laws and stuff like that. But when you're dealing with human rights, you're on the full scale of it. You're on a worldwide platform, so that you have everybody looking at it. But we gotta realize it's a world global game that we're playing, and the people that's in control are the ones in control. And we're the people that we got to go through what we got to go through, but it got to be without the ulterior motives, with the backing of people that got ulterior motives. This send us in a certain direction as a people, and it can't be have an agenda that's not about the people holistically, naturally, not from a feminist point of view or a Jewish point of view or whatever. It got to be from our point of view as a people, melanated people, and without ulterior motives. It got to be holistic and genuine in the spiritual, divine, culture aspect of us getting back to the place and time that we belong as a people through love, peace, and harmony in the spiritual context. It ain't about, people ego tripping, being self-centered and arrogant and stuff like that, and with ulterior motives. It ain't about people being spontaneous liars and stuff like that and being deceptive. It's about us growing and coming into our own. I mean, I'm talking, but I'm listening to myself, and I'm talking about myself also. When I speak my words, it's like me looking in the mirror. What I'm saying outside, I'm talking about me because I hear it first, and I go over it in my mind, and I say, am I do that? Do I do those things? Have I done those things? Have I been guilty of those things? And I have to say, yes, I have. Because I'm a human being. And on my path of growth and development, if I ain't have growth and development, I wouldn't get to this point. But I'm at this point now, and I'm still working on myself as that divine being, divinely inspired being by my ancestors and the divine information or precepts that's in me by natural inclinations of the DNA that's in me, in this temple, and this divine energy that I'm adhering to. But I ain't gonna say that I ain't done nothing, in my path, on my path, that I haven't been 100%. I haven't been 100, as they put it. Because I am a human being and I have shortcomings. I have baggage that I'm working on, and that's what we gotta do: work on that baggage, work on our idiosyncrasy, so that we can become that a person that when we walk in, that light is shining and is not tainted. But one thing for sure, I can say this with surety: I'm not egotistic, self-centered, or arrogant. I don't have no ulterior motives. I say that for surety. I say that my objective of love, peace, and harmony for my people, I say that with surety. I say in my relationships or whatever, sometimes I have shortcomings, and I got to work on that. As a human being, as a king and as a God, I got to work on that. In my relationship with, say, my queen or the queens or whatever. I got to better me as a human being, as a warrior, spiritual warrior, to be seriously about what I say and about what I do. And another thing, I'm not a spontaneous liar either. I don't deal from a perspective of being deceptive. I don't practice plagiarism. I don't do any of those things. I be original in my content. That's what I'm about. All the quotes of all the good quotes and of all our giants and stuff like that. Malcolm, King. I might use them sometimes, but I want to be original. I want to come out of my mind and say something that is stimulating and motivating, and it's my word that I brought into this paradigm, and that's how I am. That's how I be, not because I want to be egotistical or self-centered or arrogant or anything, gonna have an ulterior motive. I'm just a person that I have a gift or a talent, and I just like to be original. I like to say something. I like to put words together, to paint words upon the canvas of the minds of the people that I'm expressing, whatever I'm expressing at the time that I'm doing it, to be a stimulator, a motivator, and an agitator, to uplift us as a people. And I said all that to say that as a spiritual warrior, mystical warrior, warrior, priest, king in the mystic griot, and being anointed in the light of Christ, because Christ ain't nothing but a title, being a courageous, generous servant of the sovereign Lord of the King of Kings. I'm not perfect, but I'm dealing with trying to attain perfection, and I know the only way that I can do that is being that energy of the Creator. If I'm dealing with that energy, then I'm dealing with perfected things, not defected. I just got to carry it out to the fullest, because the Creator is perfect, no flaws or whatever. Me as a human being, like I just said, I have baggage and idiosyncrasies because of my journey, because I have not always been where I'm at now, mentally or spiritually or whatever, because I've been on the other side of the darkness or the light, whatever way you want to put it. But through growth and development, I'm here now as that representation of what I just said about myself. And as I said again, when I talk, I'm not just talking at anyone. I'm talking to us as a whole, beginning with myself, because I ain't no better than nobody else. I love my people, and that's what it is. That's the matter of fact. I love my people. I can't forget or forgive what we've been through as a people. How can I forget? When they told me, when I sat passively in a classroom, this is what they give me. This is his lies, because he don't give us the whole story. He give us the story of our captivity and about slavery and the lynching and all that, and he be redundant about that. He built a whole building, or we built a whole building based on that, on coming from captivity, coming across the Atlantic, nothing about us already being here. Then it goes into all the lynching and all that, and all the civil rights and all that. But it don't say nothing about us building pyramids and all the sciences and everything, from astrology to physics or whatever, come from us. They were stolen from us through plagiarism off the walls of ancient Kemet and the interior of Africa, Nubian universities like Timbuktu. Then over here in the indigenous tribes, which are us, we had a whole federation of 500 tribes or more. But it was us. They slaughtered us and disrupted the natural order of what we had in both places and tried to bring us together, but they manipulated us up until this point, and they still manipulating us. And that's why we got to become spiritually free, economically free, in order to be free, to express, excuse me one second. Honey ginger, very good for you. Getting ready to do some juicing today also. Got a big old bag that I got from up the Frederick Douglass Community Center. Big old bag of carrots. I got some ginger and some beets and some garlic. I'm gonna juice today. Try to always about purification of your temple. We gotta watch the food we're eating and everything, because it's all a part of our growth and development, overcoming the indoctrination of white supremacy, their social narcotics. White supremacy and institutionalized racism, along with the Willie Lynch syndrome. We got to overcome it. We got to be strong in our convictions. We got to overcome all our idiosyncrasies, that how we deal with each other. in our relationships and everything. We got to be stronger. We call ourselves kings and queens and gods and goddesses. But we got to live that way. We got to be sincere about that. We got to be sincere about everything that we do in life, sincere and serious. Especially in this political climate in the middle of winter time. We in the middle of winter in America. And look at the climate. It's out of whack. See, we don't have an understanding of the HARP and these other things that these social engineers, they deal with everything on the other side of nature. See, everything is genetic. Genetic is like ordained, divine, natural aspect, but they deal with synthetic. That's why they deal with cloning and all that type of stuff, and GMO with the food, taking the seeds out the food, trying to develop life in the laboratory. They're mad scientists, gone mad, but sometimes some of the stuff they do helps in a sense. But it got to be not part of directives from those in control of the system. Those scientists that does things that benefit us on their job, they can't even do it or discuss it because something might happen. They got to work in the confines of their instructions. Just like the school teachers, they got to go by that curriculum. It ain't like they can teach us even about our African history or indigenous history. Because they do, they might get fired. Just like they did recently or a year or two ago, they fired teachers that wanted to teach about black history. Fired them. How insane is that? They don't want you to know nothing about yourself, but they bombard us institutionally, generation after generation, with the same old lies about Christopher Columbus and George Washington and all these people. They don't tell you nothing about that George Washington, the first 15 or 16 presidents, were slave owners, except old Abe. They say Abe might have been one of us. But anyway, that's what they do. And then they want us to follow them to their self-destructive behavior in their bestiality, their pedophiling type nature, their homosexual type nature. It's historically documented their culture, not just from the modern days. This social engineering today, where our youth and everything is being geared or they promote homosexuality in this day and time, but culturally, this how these people are. From the Greeks, the Romans, and those so-called Jews, those Europeans are the real Jews and people of our descent. Well, I see it's getting ready to go weak again. So I'm going to say this to us. Stay strong in our endeavor. It's about black power and peace and love. All of them. Black power, black peace, and black love. That's what we got to do. But we got to know our story, got to know his lies, and we got to realize that we are the representatives of the Creator and deal with every aspect of development in our communities. And show love for the young brothers, the young adults that's at war with each other. The only way they're going to come out of that is they be touched with some spiritual love, some educational love, cultural love. Got to show them that we love them, that they're needed, and keep protection on our elders and our youth, and protect one another in peace and love. Remember, we're in a political climate that we ain't never been in before. We've been through a whole lot, but not at the highest level with this outright showing us, telling us that they're white nationalists, that they're promoting white supremacy and institutionalized racism. And they don't care nothing about promoting the Willie Lynch syndrome. But we got to overcome all that and develop our spiritual home in our communities by the divine light that's in each and every one of us through love, peace, and understanding. Develop our relationships and demand the best of each other. Demand it in a harmonious way. I say, love y'all, love us, love me, because it ain't no me without the we. And everybody, when I say I love me, you enhance that love. Let's be a part of the growing brotherhood and sisterhood and develop our relationships on a better level foundation. Male sisters and brothers. Peace. Love you.